Hi, I'm Jason Gore for ThatShelf.com, and we're here to look at the 50th anniversary of Overnight Sensation by Frank Zappa.
Big shelf.
So it might be one of those things. I'm myself am 52. I'm born in 1972, but we're getting a lot of 50th anniversary of a lot of great stuff because this might come as no surprise to you. The late 60s and early 70s was a pretty decent time for movies and music. And so you're actually getting these half-century celebrations timed, coincidentally or not, with my half-century. Nonetheless, this is, I think, a fitting celebration of one of Frank Zappa's great records. There's this fantastic Onion article that basically says, Frank Zappa fan says there's just one more record to actually make you also a fan of. I'm butchering it, but you understand what I'm saying. A lot of Zappa fans are like lunatics like me trying to say, no, you just got to listen to this one other one, and then you'll be a fan. He had such an incredible diversity of music, such an incredible diversity of taste. He truly taught me the beautiful collision between high and low art. I've discussed that before, but the whole notion that you could mix, Schoenberg and Louis in equal measure, have incredible bands. His politics was super complicated. His use of lyrics was obviously at this point in time highly cancelable. But he was a guy who probably, if he had his druthers, would have been born about 400 years earlier and has been a straight classical composer that everybody loved. Sort of a prick like Mozart, if that makes any sense. But he used lyrics in ways that were very fatuous, but sometimes very profound in equal measure. Just that high and low collision again. And really felt within the rock idiom that a lot of time lyrics were just since they were a necessity, he was just going to completely go the absolute oblique way with them. Things that sort of would rile up his sort of teenage combo audience and sort of fool them in some ways to actually listening to some incredibly musically sophisticated production. So it's that. If you could, in some ways, as you grow up, some of the adolescent sophomoric elements sort of diminish dramatically, but the musicality is what's immortal about this stuff. And in a funny way, a lot of hip hop does that, or especially early hip hop. That really, if you go sort of beyond the overtly lyrical and sort of dive into the more musical elements, there's actually a lot more there. That's controversial take, but I'll throw that out there anyway. I think a lot of that has to do with Zappa. That being said, sometimes the guy could actually come up with some pretty amazing witticisms, and there's certainly turns of phrase that I continue to use. So shout out to him for that. I've owned this record in multiple formats. This and Apostrophe are sort of these two core records that he put out. What they did as part of the Zappa Vault releases is they released a multi-disc digital box set of this that includes both an Atmos mix and multiple CDs of all kinds of constructed materials, as it were, for this, different mixes and all that element. This vinyl is a sort of greatest hits of that bonus version. So it has the actual record and then it has another one of sort of additional material. I have it on vinyl because I'm collecting most Zappa on vinyl, but I also have all the Zappa on CD. I cannot afford to have both on this, unlike what I do with the Beatles, like a lunatic. We will see. I am desperately hoping that the Zappa Family Trust actually starts releasing the standalone multi-channel mixes. That would be stunning because that's really what I need. The rest, I'm fairly happy listening either this way or on streaming services. But the digital Atmos mix is something that I would desperately like to have without having to buy all the nonsense. But we will see. We'll see what actually happens. In the meantime, this is a ridiculous cover. I always found it both this amazing thing. It's this mix between profound and completely pure. I actually held this up in the middle of a philosophy colloquium at one point in time when I did a report on negative dialectics of poodle play. My entire classmates thought I was a lunatic, but basically my point at the time was that you can find deeper meaning, deeper philosophical elements from within something that seems at first to be completely silly and ridiculous. That's sort of what the book does in a way, which is both extraordinarily intelligent but also deeply silly. Again, another paradox. And I remember I held up the CD version of this cover. It's this extraordinary painting that'll crack open after we unbox it. We have a sticker on the front. Overnight Sensation turns 50. This deluxe 3 LP audio file, 45 RPM, 180 gram splatter edition features a 2023 all-analog cut from the original master tapes by Chris Bellman, along with a third bonus disc. Also includes new historical essays, session photos, and cover art posters. In other words, I'm getting a 45 RPM audiophile analog version of this record, which I would have got anyway. Plus that tease of the bonus stuff. The rest of the bonus stuff, as I said, I'm probably going to listen to on digital. Please, please, please release standalone versions of the quadraphonic and new Atmos mixes. That would make me happy. If you start seeing a video on this channel, you know I've caved and bought the other sets. So as I crack this baby open, fans will obviously know this cover, but this was this gatefold. It's a single painting. It's a painting with the sort of, it's a painting within a painting, as it were. It's a sort of incredibly surreal stuff. The hand sort of actually grabbing, and it has all kinds of nonsense. The Roadie's Delight, the semen-soaked citrus there. This is like that period of time where a bunch of rock artists were writing a bunch of stuff about how ridiculous life on the road was. I mean, 200 Motels had come out not that long before this. This is very much the let's just write about what's actually happening, the complete debauchery, the insanity of all the stuff. And it's funny because we have things like Almost Famous that completely gives this sort of beatified version of what it would have been like. I kind of would love to see the version. People talk about the Queen movie, Bohemian Rhapsody. It's like, oh, I wish we saw the true story. If you want to see the true story, people would be picketing the studios. It was complete nonsense. And Zappa, who himself was famously not somebody who drank or did drugs and just watched the complete inanity of his bandmates, documented this in a way that sort of both poke fun at it all and poke fun of all of those sort of in the constellation of the band. And that's what really this comes down to. Track-wise, Camarillo, Brillo, I'm the Slime, was famously done on Saturday Night Live. Dirty Love, 50/50, Zombie Wolf, Dynamo Hum, one of the finest songs ever about cunnilingus. And then side 4, the 6-minute 38 masterpiece that is Montana. Montana with the ICATs, including Tina Turner, on backing vocals. An unbelievable song compositionally, this sort of loping country thing with this unbelievable cascade of notes, fantastic rising background vocal. Again, all captured at Ike Turner's studio at the time. There's a very famous story of that Ike was basically being the share of Tina, and Frank was one of the few people who actually stood up to him. And at least for the duration, stopped and supported Tina Turner quite extensively during that period and later in her career. Then we have the Vault Session, side 5. We have Wonderful Wino, Inca Roads, Redunzel, the 1973 mix. For the Young Sophisticate, a Dolby EQ copy. I'm the Slime, the single version. Montana, live in Holland. Face Down, I'm the Slime demo. Camaro Barillo, the alternate mix, and Dirty Love with quad guitar. Again, a hint of the quadraphonic mixes that a bunch of these records actually went through. So again, this part of the gatefold showcases the original, but of course, because it's a trifold, you have this on the inside, which is this sort of version of this iteration of the Mothers. We'll call them the Mothers. Why not? This is actually listed as a Frank Zappa record, but the band then, we'll still call them the Mothers or the Mothers' Invention. The records themselves, we knew they were going to be splattered. They're in this paper, vinyl-lined, plastic-lined paper sleeves. You know what I meant? And it has, the artwork's actually great. Actually reincorporates some of the elements from the cover art. And look at that splatter. That's a lot of fun. There you go, clear with splatter. Sort of looks like the kind of vomit that sort of clearly coated many of their stuff. Again, 45 RPM, which means the original record is going to be on 2 discs, as it were. So that's that. And because the way this stuff is that there's a middle part of the gatefold. There's a booklet, which I'll look at in a sec. So this is side 3 and side 4. And again, has details of the actual artwork, little highlights of that individual here. The vinyl looks perfectly clean. I mean, it's something that would actually show off if there was an issue, but really, really beautiful version. I'm extremely excited to add this to the collection. I mean, I could probably pull it out here. Might take a sec. Let's see where it actually is. Yeah, so there is the other version. This is the standalone 45 RPM version, which I already had, and I already purchased just on black vinyl. So this one is actually going to go for sale. But yeah, just to show you the same quality and caliber, the same artwork, but just black vinyl. So this gets to go away because I wanted, like a silly person, I wanted to make sure that I actually got that third disc. From here, we get this booklet. So again, good versions of Frank. You can see that's how they're actually cropping that photo of him. Fabulous. And then an essay with the band and all these elements. All in this booklet. More stuff, the master tape sort of detail. Anybody knows even a little bit about Zappa knows how crazy he was about actually keeping all the stuff in there, detailed, showing it off, is the actual master tapes. So, and let me pull out the third record, because that is the one exclusive to the set, as I said. Oh, and what do we have here? We actually have a poster. Of course we do. So I'll open that up first. But we have a poster replica of the front cover, this time on glossy, replicating the artwork. And this is great. The mustache logo. And again, as I just sort all this stuff out, we have side 4 and 5, 33, and that is that version. This is the extra disc that I paid the extra money for. So yeah, there's a quick look at Overnight Sensation. Having listened to, obviously, the black vinyl version, it's an extraordinary replication of the sound. But yeah, I wanted to give you sort of a taste of this and why it's sort of maybe worth upgrading while still available to this special edition. For thatshelf.com, I'm Jason Gorber. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, subscribe. We will see you next video. All the best. Take care.